I know that this has caused a lot of hubbub over the election. The first thing I want to say is that if it had been clear to me that what I was doing was infringing upon something, I obviously wouldn't have done it. I don't see. Yeah, that's the end of my point. So in terms of why I did it or why I didn't think that it was wrong, I have three justifications really. The first one being that in the elections policy there was a very in-depth flesh out of what appropriate uses of a listserv is, with the implicit implication that listservs were allowed. So if listservs are allowed and the only thing that is prohibited in listserv is spamming, then my actions were okay. I had something specific to tell the Frosh leader, specifically how I as president could improve Frosh speak, and that is something that I directly needed to convey to the Frosh leaders, and that's why I used specifically the Frosh leader listserv. So in terms of, I've heard accusations of spamming, I was very careful not to do that. The second main argument against this is that it was a lit resource. There were two reasons why I didn't think that it was a lit resource. The first being that the orientation co-chairs don't physically sit on the lit. I don't go to lit meetings and I'm not a voting member of the lit. So that's why I thought there was some gray area in terms of whether orientation was a lit body. And then also, and also, in terms of a lit resource, it wasn't something that was the listserv wasn't something given to me by the lit. I had to physically sit in front of my computer in August or July and physically input every single one of the leader emails. So because it wasn't given to me by the lit, I didn't see it as a lit resource. And while those two objections can be contested, my third reason and my biggest reason why I didn't even consider that this was a problem was based on precedence. As I mentioned before, I've been in an athletics commissioner election. I ran for VP, and in my VP campaign, I specifically emailed the athletics, everyone who signed up for intramurals campaigning for VP. And before people suggest that it simply slipped under the rug, the elections coordinator did email me warning me about an infraction, but the infraction was that I didn't have appropriate email subject line. Nothing about emailing the listserv. So based on precedent alone, that was my reasoning for using that. Was in 2010, I ran in a by-election to be vice president, got it, and then in August I stepped down. The situation was that that year I had just taken on a new subject post, a major in physics. Before I was just a philosophy specialist, and looking ahead at my courses, I knew that they were going to be really difficult. I was taking a quantum course in the new year, practicals, hard courses that I had never taken before. So, of course, this decision was ridiculous. It was ridiculously hard to make, and it's notorious that the lit takes up a lot of time, and my main reason for stepping down was that I didn't want to disadvantage the lit. I've been on councils where the core of the team, where there's not a good core of the team, and it really brings down the entire council. So the choices were either I stay on the council and do it half-assed, or I step down, give an opportunity to someone who is passionate about it, who would benefit the council and better the council on a whole. Now, having said that, I think it speaks to my commitment even more so this time around, because having to step down was one of the most embarrassing things that I've had to do in my life. One of the most embarrassing, and also the feeling of letting everyone down was a very strong one. So this time around, frankly, it was a question I asked myself too. But I came to the conclusion that this is what I wanted. I'm ready to give all my commitment. I know what it's like to have to step down. I know what it's like to put in the time, and I'm ready for it this year. I'm ready for it this time, and I have the experiences to back me up. Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, am I only answering one? Sure.
Okay. No. You guys want to switch or want to do two at once? So you guys
We'll switch.
Yeah, we'll switch.